Going on, everyone? John Matrix here. Hope you're all having yourselves a wonderful day wherever you're at. Whenever you're watching this, we're going to be jumping into some Warhammer 40K lore here as we check out the true size of a Space Marine chapter. This is part one of a 3D documentary by Invicta. Links will be down below to Invicta's channel and to this original video of his without my commentary and reaction. So please do me a favor. If you enjoy this video of his, go over there. Be sure to hit that like button and check out the content on his channel. And if you like it, you want to give the guy some support, hit that sub button. If you'd like to join us when I'm doing these reactions live, as I am right now with my YouTube members, there's a join button underneath the video, as well as a link in the description to the YouTube membership benefits and tiers that I have to offer. So yeah, check all that stuff out if you want to take sport to the next level. Regardless, thank you guys for just taking the time out of your day to come out, hang out, and watch the video. Hope you enjoy it. So with all that said, let's jump into this video. Again, this is True Size of Space Marine chapter. This is part one of a 3D documentary by Invicta. Let's check it out.
Space Marines are the greatest of the Emperor of mankind's warriors, who stand as a bulwark against a galaxy of horrors. Yet, formidable as they may be on their own, the strength of these superhuman Astartes lies in their combined arms. From the defensively equipped Devastator squads to the offensively equipped Assault squads, the mixed doctrine tactical squads, and beyond, theirs is a force best understood as a whole. Thus, in this series we shall bring to life the entirety of a Codex-compliant Space Marine chapter with its Scout, Reserve, and Battle companies, in addition.
I never really think about tanks that much when I think about Space Marines. I think about dreadnoughts and maybe some, like speeders, some kind of like cavalry-based stuff with the white scars, etc. I never really think about like tanks or heavy artillery or, any kind of mechanized infantry units with the Space Marines. I mostly think about them as just, assault squads kind of a thing.
To its vehicle pool, support staff, and command structure. We shall do so with none other than the Primarch Roboute Guilliman's finest.
Of course, that makes sense.
This is the true size of the Ultramarine chapter.
Okay. So we're going to focus mostly on the Ultramarines in this
You
one.
can organize your own unsanctioned war host with today's sponsor, Warhammer 40K.
Okay. We're going to skip ahead of the sponsor, but if you want to give him some support, check out the links in his original video here for any of his sponsorships. But we're going to go ahead and just skip on up.
The Imperium of Man spans much of the known galaxy. As such, its military is of an equally...
So interesting. So this essentially is basically just what is known, right? In the Imperium. I thought the Imperium was spread more throughout the galaxy, but I guess... Oh, no, it is. Okay. I was looking at this wrong. I thought it was just like this little like half was kind of the Imperium, and then like maybe this big chunk over here to the right was still somewhat kind of explored territory, but no, I see it's over here with Ultimus a victim. Okay, never mind.
Enormous size, and its scope defies the grasp of human minds.
I mean, yeah.
Yet at its core lies a bastion of order in the form of the 1,000 Space Marine chapters. In days past, such chapters were part of sprawling legions capable of fielding hundreds of thousands of Space Marines alongside their associated Imperial Army, fleet, and logistical elements. However, while these formidable institutions were critical in the wars of the Great Crusade, their incredible power proved dangerously concentrated during the bloody civil war of the Horus Heresy in the early 31st millennium. Thus it was that in the aftermath of this conflict, the Ultramarines' Primarch, Roboute Guilliman, split the remaining 9 loyalist Space Marine legions into roughly 1,000 chapters of 1,000 Marines, in what came to be known as the Second Founding. The restructuring of these troops,
which from my understand, not everyone really agreed with, including Dorn, right? And that almost led to another civil war happening between him and Dorn, but then I guess Dorn back down. But then what's his I can't think of his name. It's like literally at the tip of my brain. One of Dorn's, like, I think it might have even been his second in command, kind of broke away and started the Black Templars, right? And they don't follow the chapter, the codex or whatever.
Was formalized in the sacred tome of the Codex Astartes.
Yeah.
Written by Robute Guilliman himself, this exhaustive treatise laid out his ideal for the order of battle, tactical doctrine, and moral behavior of a Space Marine chapter. Its guidance proved key to the evolution of these new units. Yet, while it has been adopted to one extent or another by the vast majority of chapters, full, unwavering conformity proved impossible. In the 10 millennia since its inception and the death of Guilliman, the Codex Astartes has been added to by many other writers, and several competing versions have emerged.
Interesting, that I didn't know.
Yet, the core tenets of the Codex have stood the test of time. With this in mind, we can now describe the general organization of a Codex-compliant chapter of the 41st millennium.
So I wonder, with Robute being back, like, how he would take to those additions or amendments to his original work. Does he approve any of them? Does he not? You know, etc.
Generally speaking, a Codex-compliant chapter has around 1,000 Space Marines led by a chapter master. Each chapter is in turn divided into 10 companies of 100 Marines, each led by a captain and a pair of lieutenants. These leaders are accompanied by a command squad of hand-picked veterans and an HQ unit of at least one of the following: a chaplain, a librarian, a tech marine, and an apothecary. Each company is then further subdivided into roughly 10 squads of 10 Marines, each led by a sergeant. The companies are traditionally ranked in seniority from the 1st to the 10th, and often have their own particular roles to play in the chapter's function and culture. They are mainly designated by the appearance of their shoulder trim, with each company having its own unique color. The most
Interesting. So I would assume that means, right, like, new aspirants that get brought into, like, the Ultramarines, they would become part of the 10th company, right? And then so, like, any kind of seniority advancement would go up in company ranks, but only as, I guess, other members of other companies were to probably presumably die in battle in some way, you know? I imagine as long as they were good to be fine with it, given how he doesn't like when they follow 100%. Right. It would just be interesting to hear from him himself, like, what changes of it he liked and didn't like, kind of a thing.
traditionally defined roles are as follows. The 10th Company, designated the Scout Company, is where the chapter's neophytes are first inducted and learn to become Space Marines. The 9th to 6th Companies are designated as Reserve Companies. Their duties being to hone the skills of aspiring Space Marines in different facets of war and to provide support and replacements for the 5th through 2nd Companies.
So basically, these are the new recruits that are still being trained. These are the more seasoned veterans, and as positions open up, as people die in these companies, these regiments then fill in, is what it seems like.
These so-called battle companies are combined arms elements who form the bulk of a chapter's strike forces.
I wonder how much of it is open to choice, right? Like, are you able to, as an aspirant, like, choose to specialize in certain things? Like, you want to be more of an assault, Marine, or if you want to be more of a recon sniper kind of specialization, or if you want to be more of a tank or a pilot, you know, like, are you able to specialize in those things? Or is it a situation where it's like you're kind of forced to fill a role depending on what is needed? Or do they basically run you through like everything so that you know a little bit of everything so you can fill whatever role you need?
Lastly, the first company is designated the Veteran Company, which consists of the chapter's most experienced warriors.
Gotcha.
Attached to this force of roughly 1,000 Marines are a host of support personnel, vehicles, and starships. Together, they operate as a completely autonomous military unit whose headquarters may be located on a planet or moon-based fortress monastery, or on a massive flagship for fleet-based chapters. From here, they will exert control over their local area of space whilst serving as a small but critical elite force which can be deployed across the galaxy. They do so under the sole direction of their chapter master, who answers to no one except his fellow chapter masters, the High Lords of Terror, and the Emperor of Mankind himself. With this broad understanding, let us now delve into the greater specifics of a Space Marine chapter's organization. In this regard, we will do best to study the Ultramarines, progeny of the Primarch Roboutier Guilliman himself, who adhere most faithfully to his Codex Astartes. More specifically, we will be discussing the Ultramarines around the time of year 999 of M41, just prior to the fall of Cadia and the eruption of the Great Rift.
Okay.
We shall begin with the ascension of a new recruit as he prepares to undertake the long and arduous journey through the ranks of the Brotherhood. In many cases, chapters may seek to draw their manpower from worlds with harsh environments and cultures which pre-select applicants with desirable traits. There are, however, exceptions to this rule. In the case of the Ultramarines, they maintain several prestigious academies across the realm of Ultramar, dedicated to the training and education of youths from whence...
Yeah, you would think, obviously, that, like, yes, they probably have certain Space Marine, you know, chaplains, whatever, that go around and actually, like, specifically handpick people that they see something in to become recruits. But you would also think that they would just have, like, any normal army recruiting station things that you would have in normal life, where it's just like, hey, you know, you want to try out to become a Space Marine? You know, let's see if you got what it takes, kind of a situation. If they're genetically compatible and if they are physically capable, then I would think, why wouldn't they have something like that, you know?
Candidates are then drawn.
Then again, I guess, right, they only have a certain amount of gene seeds, right? Isn't that the case? They're not able to necessarily make new gene seeds, which is why it's so critical that when a Space Marine dies, they kind of grab the gene seed to recycle them, I guess. So I don't know.
Recruits will be mortal boys who must now undergo the harsh trials of an aspirant. Those who pass either an exposure trial or the less common challenge trial may now be deemed worthy of starting their training in the chapter proper and are inducted into its ranks as a neophyte. However, this is but the beginning of their toils, and many will not survive the grueling tests which follow. Yet, those who do are granted the honor of finally becoming a true Space Marine. This transformation is a literal one, which involves a neophyte being implanted with their chapter's first set of 19 unique gene seed organs. Such carefully maintained marvels of genetic engineering will grant the recipient a range of superhuman abilities. Yet the process is a trial unto itself, with many being crippled or killed in the attempt. Survivors who finally emerge from the medical chambers will now do so as battle brothers, ready to begin their service to the chapter. Here they will join as a scout in the 10th Company, the Scions of Ultramar, under the command of Captain Antilochus. The entirety of the 10th is composed of scout squads. However, owing to its role as a training unit for the chapter, a scout company has no fixed number of squads attached to it. Thus, while its brethren may be expected to call upon 100 Marines per company, a scout company may field many times this number. They specialize in reconnaissance, infiltration, and sabotage. Scouts have received the same augmentations as their full-fledged battle brothers, but have yet to earn the right to wear power armor, instead wearing lighter carapace armor, more suited to their intended role.
That's something that I didn't know, right? That I guess there's regiments in here early on that still serve as Space Marines, but because they're essentially still new, they haven't earned the right to wear power armor yet. That's something that I didn't know. I thought, like, basically even the newest Space Marine would be given their own set of power armor. That's what I thought happened, but I guess it's not the case. So that's interesting to learn.
A standard scout squad consists of 4 to 9 such individuals led by a sergeant. Squads may be armed in a variety of ways based on their intended roles. For instance, a sniper scout squad will be composed of 3 men with sniper rifles, a 4th man with a missile launcher, heavy bolter or autocannon, and a sergeant armed with bolt pistol as well as a chainsword as a sign of their rank. Tactical scout squads, meanwhile, will trade out the 3 sniper rifles for bolters, while an assault squad will use shotguns, bolt pistols, combat knives, and grenades.
It's interesting, too, that they don't get chainswords yet. They're still just, as far as melee goes, hand-to-hand or knife. Huh.
Thus armed, young Space Marines will begin to familiarize themselves with the basic arsenal of their chapter. Scouts are also trained to operate light bikes and may ride these nimble vehicles on recon and disruption missions once they have gained sufficient experience. Scouts may also be deployed on the Storm-type land speeder to improve the squad's mobility and provide it with additional fire support in their often far-ranging operations. While it may be tempting to look down upon this most novice of companies, the 10th has its own proud history and traditions. The Scions of Ultramar have produced some of the most renowned infiltration experts.
I don't know why anyone would want to, like, it's kind of strange. I wouldn't think anyone would want to look down on that. I would think it would be a particular honor because you're raising the next generation of Space Marine and, you know, training them to become who they could be. You know, the next Dante could be among these recruits. You know what I'm saying?
Marksmen among the Adeptus Astartes. Indeed, many of the most veteran men of a company may spend years embedded in this unit as a means to train up its youngest neophytes. Once a Marine has earned sufficient experience as a scout, he will finally be implanted with his black carapace, which serves as a neural control interface that enables the full use of power armor. Thus equipped, he can now begin his journey through the ranks of the reserve companies. This starts with the 9th Company, the Stormbringers, led by Captain Sinon.
Okay.
It is a dedicated heavy support company composed of 10 Devastator squads. Of all the companies, they are the most defensive in doctrine, as shall be made clear by their armament. Each Devastator squad consists of a sergeant and up to 9 Marines. 4 are designated as heavy weapon specialists, with the rest acting as support, while the latter carries the typical
I would want to be the plasma boy here.
bolter, pistol, and grenade. The former brings to bear a far heavier arsenal, which includes heavy bolters, las cannons, plasma cannons, multi-melters, missile launchers, and grav cannons. The squad sergeant is given additional heavy weapons training. making him an expert in the use and coordination of these mighty armaments. Sergeants will not, however, carry a heavy weapon themselves, and instead are equipped with their usual chainsword and some form of ranged weapon. Such Devastator squads may act as generalists who deploy a range of weaponry to meet any foe, or may act as specialists with gear designed to counter a particular enemy type, such as heavy armor or massed hordes. Thus, in the words of the Primarch Robute Guilliman, quote, "A Devastator's reach shall be without limit, and his touch without mercy. Fire shall roar from his fingertips, but it shall consume him not. Thunder will roar when he calls, yet it will swallow him not. Wherever he stands, that shall be his fortress of righteousness."
Okay.
These Devastators will be further reinforced by their vehicles. A prime example is the Centurion-class warsuit, which has only recently been seeing more widespread adoption. This exoskeleton fits over a Marine's armor, further protecting them with ceramite plates and.
So is this supposed to be kind of like the modern, I guess, equivalent of Terminator armor, right? Since they can't make Terminator armor and it's so, like, I guess, sacred, right? That they don't necessarily, again, they can't make it and they don't want to lose it. So they've kind of created this new exoskeleton to kind of, I guess, fill that role,
granting him the ability to wield even more formidable weaponry. Centurion pilots are often drawn from the most veteran of the chapter's Devastator squads, and from there may be deployed alongside the 9th, depending on the situation. Like all of the following companies, the 9th also maintains a force of transports ranging from the small, nimble land speeders to the large, plodding
APCs.
Rhinos and Razorback APCs. Additionally, the 9th may count on the support of Dreadnought combat walkers and Whirlwind artillery tanks. These and the rest of a company's vehicle needs will be drawn from the chapter armory, which we shall discuss later.
I wonder how the Space Marines that utilize and pilot the tanks are looked at, right? Because, like, even from a lot of the book stuff that I've read, Space Marines view, they want to get in the thick of the fight, right? So, like, the Space Marines that are relegated to, like, artillery roles, support roles, like, are they looked down upon kind of a situation? Are they seen as, like, not good enough or lesser Space Marines in the hierarchy of Space Marines? You know? Or are they still considered equal battle brothers? You know what I mean?
After serving in the 9th and proving themselves capable of holding their ground against any foe, a Marine will next move to the 8th Company, where they shall learn the art of the offense. Within the Ultramarines chapter, they bear the title the Honor Blades and are led by Captain Joris Numitor. It is composed of 10 assault squads, the primary close combat and assault specialists of the Ultramarines. Each assault squad consists of a sergeant and up to 9 Marines, who will usually be equipped with jump packs to greatly enhance their mobility and allow for devastating aerial attacks.
This is the squad that I would want to be a part of. I would love to have these jetpacks and just jump in, get in the thick of it with my chainsword or power sword, and just, yeah.
Assault Marines are primarily armed with a combination of bolt pistol, chainsword, and frag or crack grenades. 1 or 2 Marines may be assigned a flamer to improve the squad's close-range firepower. Sergeants, meanwhile, are permitted a greater variety of war gear owing to their superior rank. In addition, they are bolstered by an upgraded comms package to allow them to operate efficiently whilst well ahead of the main army. Such assault squads are among the most mobile of Space Marine units, being used for a variety of roles including reconnaissance in force, decapitation strikes, and counter-assault missions. Their fearsome reputation precedes them, as was the intent of Robutier Guilliman, who declared of the assault marine, quote, "He shall descend upon the perfidious foe as an angel of judgment from on high. Let the jump pack be his wings, and the roar of its engines a hymn of retribution. Let the chainsword be his scepter of decree, its harsh voice singing joyfully with each and every blow. With it shall the assault marine bring bloody retribution to the heretic, the traitor, and all alien aggressors who trespass on the Emperor's domain." The company's mobility is further enhanced by a vehicle pool, which includes a larger than usual number of bikes and land speeders, and is supported by its own air force of Storm Talon gunships.
Squad.
In terms of heavy armor, the 8th has access to the typical complement of walkers, transports, artillery, and tanks, and may call upon such assets from the armory as needed. Now, having proven their merit in defense among the Devastator squads of the 9th and in offense among the assault squads of the 8th, a Marine will advance to the 7th Company, where the two doctrines shall be merged. For the Ultramarines, this occurs in the ranks of the Defenders of Caesarion, who are led by Captain Gerard Ixion. They are composed of 10 tactical squads, the masters of combined arms warfare, who have long formed the backbone of Space Marine strike forces for over 10 millennia. Consisting of a sergeant and up to 9 Marines, these are highly adaptable units designed to operate effectively against numerous types of opponents. As such, the majority of the squad is equipped with a bolt gun, bolt pistol, combat blade, and grenades. For improved firepower and flexibility, 2 of its members may be equipped in the manner of Devastators with special weaponry such as flamers, melter guns, plasma guns, and grav guns. As usual, sergeants have access to a wide variety of different war gear, such as combi weapons and powered close combat weapons, although they often go into battle armed with a bolt pistol and chainsword. Yet, as the Primarch Robutier Guilliman reminds us, quote, "But these are mere tools. A tactical Marine's true weapons are his courage, his wits, and his dedication to his brothers. He will bring his foe to battle in a manner and time of his choosing, never himself caught unready or ill-prepared for the task at hand. In defense, he shall be stalwart as the mountain, a bulwark stood firm against the enemies of man. In attack, he shall strike with the wrath of the immortal Emperor, felling the foe without mercy, remorse, or fear."
Right, man.
In terms of vehicle support, this company can call upon the usual complement of dreadnoughts, transports, and tanks. But for even greater flexible deployment, the 7th also maintains a permanent pool of land speeders, as dictated by the Codex, providing the chapter with a ready force of specialists in these nimble combat skimmers. Battle brothers who continue to prove themselves will now make their way into the 6th Company. Within the Ultramarines, this last unit of the reserve companies is known as the Brethren of the Forge and is led by the famously aggressive Captain Maximus Epithus. The 6th is in many ways a mirror of the 7th, in that it also consists of 10 tactical squads. However, its members are more experienced and leverage these skills for a doctrine of armored spearhead assaults. As such, they make great use of APCs to rapidly maneuver its infantry, while being supported by dreadnoughts, battle tanks, mobile artillery, and gunships requisitioned from the army.
So this is kind of the more mobile mechanical infantry or mechanized infantry squad that kind of goes in, with tanks and whatnot, batters the enemy with artillery and mechanized units so that the infantry can then push through.
Such is the extensive
line breakers,
mechanized
I would
training
assume.
of the brothers who serve in the 6th that their ranks will be called upon to provide an honor guard to watch over the chapter armory within the fortress of Hera, and many such men will go on to become future tech marines.
Oh, interesting.
Should a space marine survive their long and bloody journey through the scout and reserve companies, a service which will take years if not decades to achieve, he will finally be granted the honor of advancing to the battle companies. We shall delve into their ranks in part 2 of this series,
Okay.
but you can get sneak previews and grab HD downloads of all our art by joining our Patreon or becoming a member of this channel. A huge
All right, well, there we go. That was True Size of the Space Marine Chapter, Part 1 3D documentary by Invicta. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into Part 2 and seeing what the battle companies are made of and what their various roles are. So it's pretty interesting, seeing how the various companies are laid out, what their roles are, and how essentially, you know, the Space Marines advance through the various ranks. It seems like it's a situation where once a role opens up, you get promoted and then you fill that role, and you know, you kind of, I guess, learn and get trained as you go, you know, from the 10th regiment or whatever up through the 6th. And then once you get through those 6 and you can get promoted to the battle companies, you'll have gone through all the various different roles of being a scout, being an assault, being more of a defensive unit, maybe being someone that's part of a mechanized infantry group with tanks or speeders or, you know, planes or whatever, so that, you know, you've gone through all the various roles through those first 6 regiments. And then once you're in the battle companies, then you're able to fill any kind of role as needed, essentially. And you've gotten experience with all of those things. So you have experience using heavy weapons, you've got experience in hand-to-hand combat with all the various bolters, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So interesting seeing how the different regiments are set up and kind of the different strategies and whatnot. And it's also interesting that the first 6 are kind of like kept in reserve until something, you know, really major happens, and those are kind of the training regiments up until the first 5. So I'm eager to see, you know, in Part 2 what the battle regiments roles are and all of the equipment they seem to have. It seems like the 6th would be kind of more of like a frontline regiment to me, right? It seems like if they were go into kind of, I guess, I don't know what the proper terminology is, like a modern open war kind of a scenario where, you know, I don't know what words I'm looking for to describe it, but essentially like tank on tank, armored versus armored combat, stuff like that. They seem to be like they would be kind of the front lines because they seem more, again, mechanized with uses of tanks and artillery, and they seem like they would go in first, break open the lines, or, you know, whatever, bombard them with the artillery and the tanks, soften up the enemy so that the other squads could then push in and clean up. That to me is what it kind of sounded like. So I don't know, I guess we'll see what happens when we get into the battle regiments. Yeah, it gives a better understanding of the scale and information Space Marine chapter for sure, and kind of how advancement goes, because that was always one of the things that I had wondered, right? Like, you only really get promoted in Space Marine scenarios when someone above you dies. So it's kind of like, it's a celebration, but it's also a mourning. It's a celebration because you get promoted and you have more responsibilities and you can serve the Empire and the Emperor better. But at the same time, it's a time of mourning because, you know, a fellow battle brother has, you know, died doing his duty. So I don't know, but yeah, it's just interesting to see how things are laid out and how they advance. And, you know, this is solely based around the Ultramarines, so I would be interested to see what other major chapters, factions, etc., how they do it. Is it similar? Is it different? Do they have their things laid out differently? Yeah, so yeah, that was again True Size Space Marine chapter part 1 3D documentary by Invicta. Links down below in the description as always to the original video without my commentary and reaction. So please do me a favor, if you enjoy this video, be sure to go over there and hit the like button on this video and check out their content on their channel. You know, if you enjoy it, hit that sub button. Check out their membership, their Patreon, if you want to take support to their channel to the next level. Yeah, just check out all the stuff. If you would like to take your support from my channel to the next level, there's a join button underneath the video, as well as a link in the description to YouTube membership benefits and tiers that I have to offer. So check all that stuff out. If you have interest, you can get access to join us when I do these reactions with my YouTube members. There's some Patreon. There's some Discord channels you can get access to know when I go live, and join some of the discussions that I have with members only, early access to videos, all that kind of stuff. So check all that out if you have any interest in wanting to take your support for my channel to the next level. But regardless, thank you guys for watching. If you still are here at the very end of the video, it means a lot. Greatly appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day and schedule to hang out with me and watch these videos. If you enjoyed it, consider leaving a like and a sub. It helps me and the channel grow, and it lets the YouTube algorithm gods know that you like this kind of content and you want to see some more. So again, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you're having yourselves a wonderful day. We'll see you on the next.